Ju-on the Grudge, another obscure little piece of Wii shovelware dredged up from the cesspool that is my requests list. I ignored this game for a long time because the title sounded like some crappy anime series I'd never heard of, when the game is actually based on that horror movie, The Grudge, and its Japanese predecessor. The game is a survival horror game, and its subtitle is actually what caught my attention. Ju-on the Grudge, Haunted House Simulator. You could not have come up with a more lame-ass title! And that's when I decided to jump in and try my very first horror game, my first real horror game, because if it's got the word simulator in it, it's either gonna be good or it's gonna make a great video. The story of the game is pretty basic. A Ju-on, or a Grudge, is an evil spirit that is created out of the hatred of a person who dies violently. Anybody who encounters a Grudge is doomed to die along with all their loved ones and spread the curse to wherever they died. A family of 4 moves into a house that's haunted by a Grudge, and the game is split into 4 episodes following each family member as the Grudge haunts them. Trust me, the game as it actually plays out is far less interesting than I just made it sound. The first episode, you play as a girl named Erica, who's taking her dog out for a walk when the dog takes off running into a stock horror abandoned factory. Of all the dumb reasons to wander into a hideously unsafe building in the middle of the night, right? The door mysteriously locks behind her, and you have to go through the building to find another way out. The game is played from a first-person perspective, and the controls, per horror game tradition, are just awful. You can't walk in any direction other than straight forward or straight backward. You turn by tilting the remote, and turning is kinda hard to explain. Let's say that I turn the remote 15 degrees to the left. I start slowly turning to the left. Now let's say I turn my remote further to the left to turn faster. Nothing happens. Once you start turning in a given direction at a given speed, you have to reset your remote to the center of the screen before you can turn to look in another direction. If you don't recenter the remote, your character just keeps moving in the direction you first turned to, and the controls can get stuck to where you just keep turning in the wrong direction. Plus, the game usually turns your head ridiculously slowly, and you have to jam the remote to the side to turn with any decent speed. The controls are ridiculously stiff, and just trying to look around is a huge pain in the ass. It's also annoying you can't interact with an item unless you walk straight towards it at the right angle and put your flashlight cursor direct center on top of it. But by far the worst part of the controls is that you walk like a 94-year-old grandma! Look how slowly I'm moving! This is your only movement speed! There's no run button! Going anywhere, doing anything, takes ages because your character walks like a goddamn turtle! You're running from ghosts, you dumb bitch! Pick up the pace! So in case you don't have eyes and you couldn't tell, the entire game world is pitch black. You know, the quickest and laziest way to build horror atmosphere, and your only source of light to see what you're doing is a flashlight that only lights up a small circle and lasts about 4% of the lifespan of actual flashlight batteries. If you run out of flashlight battery, you die instantly, so the bulk of the gameplay is spent picking up batteries to keep the flashlight running. The game typically gives you about twice as many batteries as you need, and batteries are super easy to find because they shine like road flares in pitch-dark rooms. Anyway, this first level in the factory is basically a series of about 8 strictly linear rooms. You wander around a room, the exit is locked, you find a key, which again is in plain sight because it shines like the Ark of the Covenant, you open the door to the next room, and you move on and do it all again. The gameplay is nothing, and I mean nothing, except looking for keys. Can I open this locker? Nope. Can I interact with this door here? Nope. The level is just one straight path with nothing to interact with or explore. All you do is walk from place to place. But gameplay isn't the main concern here. Every horror game lives and dies on one key question. Is the game scary? After all, there's no attack button, there aren't any weapons, and your movement speed is comparable to that of Jabba the Hutt, so what the hell happens when the ghosts attack you? Well, that's where things get interesting. I didn't get attacked by the ghosts one single time in this entire level. I barely even saw the ghosts, period, despite looking everywhere and keeping an eye out for them. The only times I saw the ghosts, they were either running away from me or doing this. The kid caught me, but there's no indication that I've taken any damage, and I'm obviously still alive, so is that really all that happens when a ghost catches you? Their face flashes on screen with a look like they're really bored? The only times that the ghost actually attack you are in cutscenes that pepper the level, and you do some basic quick-time events to get away. They never actually attack you in the middle of gameplay. Items will shake as you walk around, and every now and then there will be a loud noise, but nothing actually hurts you. It got to the point in the second level that I started actively trying to get myself killed. I'd walk straight towards the ghosts because you see them wander the halls every now and then. I turned on all the TVs to try and attract ghosts with noise. I incessantly knocked on a bathroom stall where one of the ghosts was taking a dump. Nothing! Get this! It is completely physically impossible to die outside of a cutscene. The ghosts don't attack you. Nothing in the environment hurts you. The ghosts don't even wander the level. They just appear away from you in pre-scripted events and then disappear. No matter what you do, it is impossible to die. What dumbass makes a survival horror game where you basically can't die? It's in the title! Survival horror! So once you figure out that you can't get killed outside of cutscenes, the game completely stops being scary. As you walk through levels, objects will spontaneously move or make loud noises, which, incidentally... But I know nothing is going to hurt or affect me, so I just keep walking. It doesn't pose a threat, and therefore it's not scary. Don't care. Don't care. So do not... Oh, bingo! Creepy doll gives me horror cliche bingo! The only time the game really tries to scare you is in a cutscene, so every time the game yanks control away from you for a cutscene, it's basically telegraphing that a scare is about to occur, and the scare immediately loses all of its impact, because you're expecting it. And that's scare in the biggest air quotes imaginable, because so many of the scares in this game are so laughably staged. Usually when a ghost appears, the camera pans over to show the ghost standing off in the distance real casually, and then it zooms in with the scare cord. How the hell do you screw up jump scares? Well, I'll tell you how you screw up jump scares. Here's one from the hospital level. Now, how many of you are scared, and how many of you are laughing? Seriously, I'm so not scared by the ghosts, I react like this upon seeing them. Oh, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Did you change your hair? I like it. Oh, come on, is this because I called you Sadako that one time? I said I was sorry. It was an honest mistake. Okay, bye. Bitch be trippin'. I feel it's worth mentioning that this game was directed by Takashi Shimizu, the same guy who created the Grudge movies, and I think therein lies the key problem with this game. What's scary in a movie is not necessarily scary in a video game. In a movie, you can get away with only showing us the ghost in brief spurts and far away to build suspense. But games are an interactive medium. In games, the player only gets scared if they themselves feel they're in danger. If the only time I get attacked is in a cutscene, then the scare isn't happening to me, it's happening to my character, and their fate is out of my hands. If I can't die outside of cutscenes, where whatever happens is just what's supposed to happen, then why should I be afraid of, well, anything? Nothing can hurt me. And what's more, since nothing, and I mean nothing, hurts you or poses any remote threat to you in levels, the entire game is just you walking straight from cutscene to cutscene. There's no enemies, nothing to explore. The game is just you slowly trudging from cutscene to cutscene while absolutely nothing happens. This is almost the bare minimum of how much interactivity a game can have and still be called a game. And even with the dirt low standards of a game that is nothing but walking down hallways, the game can't even do that right. At the end of the first level, Erica dies, and you switch over to some lady named Miki, who wakes up in a hospital that's been mysteriously abandoned. Oh hey, photos with all the faces burned out. Bonus points! The hospital is freaking annoying. You go to answer a ringing telephone, it stops, and then there's a tiny green sign with the number 301 printed on it. If you miss that clue, then all you can do is just wander around with nothing happening until the battery runs out and you die. You go to room 301 and nothing happens while you're in there. Eventually I just wandered out and the sign is spontaneously changed telling me to go to a new room. There's no clear indicator of when you've made progress. I think you're just supposed to trigger the quote-unquote scares in these rooms to advance the level, but it's not clear what to do or when you've done it. What is this? Oh, wow. Now the game revolves around looking for pieces of paper. And the haunting involves a kid's drawing. Eventually, the game gives you much more clear hints about where to go, but still nothing happens as you get led by the nose from room to room. I can feel myself aging as my character walks down this hall. Who has odds on the monster answers the phone? You win. Eventually, you head to the roof where people creepily kill themselves without saying a word. Jeez, I didn't know this game takes place in the Phantom Zone. There's no skyline in sight anywhere. Once you're on the roof, the kid ghost tries to kill you. And he succeeds, because I thought the down arrow meant pull the remote towards me. If you screw up one single QuickTime event in these cutscenes, you die immediately and have to start the boring-ass nothing happens, do nothing but walk empty hallways for 20 minutes level over again. And then when I finish the level and beat that QTE, you know what happens? The mama ghost kills you and the level ends. So what was the point of me beating that sequence? So my character could live for another 4 seconds? By the way, the game gives you a little message based on your zodiac sign whenever you finish a level. Your fear level is how quickly you finished the level, and the sissy level is how slow you were to respond to the QuickTime events. It's kind of a neat feature, but it's also super easy to make fun of. Watching you play is like eating imitation crab, bland and uninspired. Dude, glass houses, do you really want to talk to me about being bland and uninspired? Perhaps you were just steeling yourself to confront the horrors ahead? Yeah, you wish. If you look up wuss in the dictionary, you'd see your own face smiling back at you. Okay, point. The third level you play as Kenji, a mail delivery guy who finds a package and is summoned to a building, but the building has long been abandoned. So the guy walks through a completely abandoned neighborhood into a completely abandoned apartment building in the middle of the night. Dude, seriously, getting killed by a ghost is going to be the highlight of your evening in a place like this. And when you get to the creepy abandoned apartment indicated by the box, does the idiot just drop the package at the door and then leave? No, he goes into the apartment and starts snooping around. Dude, seriously, you deserve to get killed if you're this bottomlessly stupid. Oh right, I forgot. Characters that are too dumb to live is another horror trope. I spent 10 minutes wandering around this room trying to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do until I gave in and pulled out a walkthrough. You're supposed to find a key that's hidden behind a closet door that you can't open, and you can only see it to even know it's there if you're standing in one specific spot of the room. Dang, I forgot to call the package is haunted. And then, trying to win a gold medal in the Moron Olympics, instead of heading home, he decides to break into another abandoned apartment. I don't know why, other than it's the only path the level lets you walk down. Yeah, I know I'm not critiquing the gameplay here. There's no gameplay to critique. If you insist on trying to be a movie, then I'll just bitch about you like you're a bad movie. Which you are. By the way, all of the closets and doors and crap, can't open a single one of them. Well, it looks like there's no more level, so the ghost is probably going to jump out and kill me now. Yep, there it is. I'm sorry, that's not how a YouTuber reacts to a jump scare, so let me try that again. Next up on the anonymous death checklist is Hero, a night guard who sees the monster in a security camera, and then the power goes out. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Yeah, that arm looks awfully slender and feminine for an adult male security guard. Did they seriously just reuse the same arm model from the first 2 levels? This is the only level where I ran out of battery power and died because this level is built around a beginner's trap. You have to go turn the power to the building back on, but when you finally drag your slow ass over to the door, it's locked, and the security guard, who should have total access to the building, can't get inside. You're supposed to go through the 3 offices you pass on the way here and find 3 separate pieces of paper with the pin number on it, and if you went to the door first, you have exactly 0 chance of making it in time. Not like it matters anyway. The ghosts are 3 for 3 in terms of victims. He was probably just going to die without accomplishing anything anyway. Whole game's kind of pointless the more I think about it. You're just helping 4 people die 20 minutes later than they were supposed to. You don't really accomplish anything. Who the hell puts the access code for a door on 3 separate pieces of paper? In what scenario would that possibly be useful? Oh, damn, the power's out. Okay, I've got the first digit to the PIN number. Who's got the other 2? I think Chad's got one, but he's on vacation. Shit! So one extremely slow walk through this short-ass level later. Oh, bullshit! Look how little time I had for that quick-time event! It was at this point that I figured out the game doesn't penalize you for incorrect motions. You can just flail the remote like there's a spider on your arm you're trying to shake off, and the game will automatically register all of the directions. Great, now I don't have to actually play the only part of the game where you actually do something. So 20 seconds after the point where I died, hero dies. And then the game's over. Seriously, the game just cuts off. There's no ending, no credits, no thanks for playing our miserable shit game message. Nothing. It just sends you back to the level selection screen. The game just cuts off, abrupt and unceremonious. The end. Like death itself. Ju-On the Grudge is god-awful. It's boring, it's not even remotely scary unless your name is PewDiePie. It's one of the most incompetent horror games I've ever seen. About the only good thing I can say about it is it didn't waste much of my time. Each level clocks in about 20 minutes long, and the levels are so linear and devoid of exploration that there's no replay value. Could you imagine spending $50 on this turd and then beating it in an afternoon? But at least it's over. Bye! Wait. What do you mean it's not over? There's no more levels! Fine. So, Ju-On the Grudge has a secret 5th level. And I do mean secret 5th level. The game just cuts off after you finish the 4th level. There's not a 5th level that's crossed out or some weird riddle hinting that there's more to the game. Nothing. I don't know how you're even supposed to figure out that a 5th level exists, unless it's in the instruction booklet that I don't have. Anyway, remember those chunks of a child's drawing that I found in the hospital? There's a torn up document hidden in every level. To unlock the 5th level, you have to replay the main levels and scour them for more unmarked scraps of paper until you assemble all 4 documents. A newspaper, a diary, a family photo, and a scribble. And these damn things are hidden in the biggest screw you'll never find this places imaginable. You know those lockers I couldn't even interact with in the first level? There are lockers you can interact with earlier in the level, and a fragment is hidden there. The game hammers into your head that there's nothing you can interact with, and the fragments are hidden in the only things you can interact with. The apartment has a fragment stuck to the ceiling, just crafted to take you ages and multiple hideously boring playthroughs to find. And even if you do somehow like this game enough to keep exploring the levels determined to beat it, there are 2 fragments in the hospital you'll never find without help. The first one, you have to go to room 307, walk between the beds until a cutscene decides to start up. It took me 3 times before the damn thing registered, and only then does a scribble you need appear on the floor. Another one is hidden in a casket in the morgue, but it only appears in the morgue after you go in, leave, try to go upstairs so the ghost chases you out in a cutscene, and then, for no real reason or prompting, backtrack to the morgue. If you check before that, the casket is empty. What kind of bullshit is that? You know, up until now, the game has just been boring and stunningly poorly designed, but now it's starting to piss me off. This piece of shit is only an hour and a half long, and then it forces you to play that same hour and a half over and over again, looking for items you'll never find to unlock the ending. And by the way, if you thought the game was boring before, just wait until you're dragging yourself through the same levels with all the alleged scares spoiled for you, slowly traipsing over every poorly rendered nook and cranny for the barely visible items you need. And trust me, the last level, the haunted house, is totally not worth it. It turns out Erica survived the first level, and she goes back to the family's house after she can't reach any of her family on the phone. It's the shortest level by a significant margin. The game obnoxiously flashes images of the dead people in your face. One of the main jump scares revolves around poorly rendered cats vaguely jumping at you, which, dead serious, this had me laughing out loud. And what should be a creepy, deeply disturbing moment, the girl stumbling across her entire frickin' family dead in the attic, is shot in the foot because all you see are garbage bags and no body parts. Funny how this M-rated game doesn't show you anything violent. Erica gets trapped, gets dragged up to the attic, and dies off screen. The end for real this time. God, that was pointless! If Ju-On the Grudge isn't the worst horror game ever made, it's got to be in the top 5. The scares are utterly incompetent, it's horribly designed with objects critical to the game hidden where you'll never find them, it's short as crap and boring as shit. Have you ever played a horror game where the enemies don't attack you? No, strike that. Have you ever played a horror game where there are no enemies, period? This game is like a laundry list of every what not to do in a horror game rule, so obvious you didn't think it needed to be written down in the first place. In fairness, according to Wikipedia, the developers said that they were trying to get as close to an interactive movie as they could, and I can totally see that. The game almost plays more like you're supposed to watch it than play it. But even as an interactive movie, this game blows chunks. There's no characters, just 4 anonymous pairs of floating hands that we never learn anything about. There's no story. It's just 4 anonymous people going to 4 random locations and getting killed by a dead lady we'd never learn anything about. And for an interactive movie, there's almost no interactivity. And by the way, the developers also said the game could be finished, and I quote, in a little less than 10 hours. I guess that's true. 90 minutes is technically less than 10 hours. No matter what criteria you use, I judge The Grudge as being anal fudge. Thank God that I'm done with this drudge.